Namaste to all of you. My name is Dr. Hemant Bhargav. I will be giving you a brief presentation on the utility of teleyoga intervention in managing the COVID-19 pandemic, especially for stress management and improving the immune functions. COVID-19 has become a global concern now. There is a huge demand on the healthcare sector to contain this pandemic, especially in country like India, where the population is huge and the healthcare resources are limited. It is very important that we explore the traditional systems of medicine like yoga, which can prevent the problem from becoming more grave. So to do that, the first step that we took is to understand the pathophysiology of the disease itself. Clinically, when you look, COVID-19 can be categorized into three categories: mild, moderate, and severe. In the mild category, there are symptoms of fever, sore throat, body pain, and there can be symptoms of cold and cough, dry cough. When this condition goes into moderate category, the breathlessness increases, the fever also becomes more, and the cough may aggravate. Respiratory rate especially may become more, but it will still be below 30 per minute. And the oxygen saturation in the blood will start reducing from the normal 97 to 100%. It will start going down, but still remain above 90% mark. Whereas when it comes to the severe category, then we observe that there are symptoms of high fever, high increased breathlessness, respiratory rate frequently going above 30 per minute, and the oxygen saturation falling below 90%. When we developed this yoga program, we targeted healthy people, people who are COVID-19 positive but asymptomatic, who are in a self-quarantine situation, and people who are mildly symptomatic. So when we understand the disease process, we know that there are various inflammatory markers that come into play. Cytokine storm is a condition that takes place into the system when the symptoms are severe. Cytokines are certain chemicals released by our immune cells, and these chemicals draw symptoms of inflammation. They draw more immune cells, and then they produce those symptoms which make the breathing difficult, and then may even affect the cardiac muscles, causing myocarditis. So all these symptoms that are coming, the cytokines, the immune markers, are playing a very important role in the body. Similarly, we observe here that the specific immunity, the cell-mediated immunity, gets compromised as there is reduction in the T cell, especially the CD4 and CD8 type of T cells. These are the cells which are affected by HIV virus also. 28% of the screened population in a study in healthy and general public, it was observed that they suffer from stress, anxiety, and depression during this COVID-19 pandemic period. So this suggests that almost 1 in 3 is having psychological distress, anxiety, and depression. Similarly, it was observed that in a cohort of men who suffered from HIV infection, if they had depression, they had the CD4 cells, the immune cells, going down as much as 38% as compared to people who are HIV positive but do not have depression. Another study showed that people who were chronically depressed were much more likely to progress into AIDS from HIV, and depression increased the risk of death significantly. This meta-analysis of 300 studies has shown that there is an inverse relationship between psychological stress and immune parameters. The study actually found that when the stressor is acute, like say you face an interview, or there is an exam, or suddenly you come across a snake, and then the stressor is removed after a while, and then the immune system comes back to normal. In such acute stressful condition, the immune system that gets compromised is a non-specific immune system, which is there in the mucosal lining, the IgA antibodies and certain enzymes. They get compromised and then come back to normal when the stressor is removed. But when the stressor is chronic, that is, the stressor is persisting for 3 months or more, then what happens is the specific immunity is affected. By specific immunity, I mean that within the blood, the T cells, the CD4 and CD8 T cells start going down. And these cell-mediated immune responses, as I told you, are affected by the virus also. In stress, there is release of certain chemicals like adrenaline and cortisol, which have receptors on these T cells. And when they attach to these T cells, they change the pattern in which the cells behave, and they start releasing more pro-inflammatory cytokines as compared to the anti-inflammatory cytokines, and then the disease progresses faster, which is conducive for the virus to grow and then the viral load to increase. So that was the part where we understood the pathophysiology of the disease. And then we went into the ancient yogic texts to understand what kind of practices would be most useful in our module. So as we understand, the respiratory and the cardiovascular functions are the one which are getting compromised. So therefore, we focused on the pranayama part of the yoga practice more in this module. And here, when we look into ancient texts, Patanjali in his sutras defines that the cessation of the inhaled and exhaled air after attaining a steady posture is called as pranayama. Another Hatha Yoga text known as Hatha Yoga Pradipika describes that there is an intimate relationship between the mind and the breath. And if one comes to a cessation or suspension, the other also stops. So therefore, it means that breath can be used to calm down the mind. Another reference in the same text describes that one should steady and hold the prana in a particular region if we want that part to be free from the disease. Therefore, in the module, we use the 6-4-8-4 breathing, where you hold your breath in different zones of the lungs. Similarly, there is a reference for Bhastrika practice that it balances all the 3 humors according to Ayurveda, the Vata, Pitta and Kapha. It also improves the body fire. So body fire is something that is known as a heat in yogic literature, and this heat is supposed to be connected to your immune system. And we know that these viruses and bacteria grow faster in a damp, cold atmosphere rather than the hot. The another yogic text known as Gheranda Samhita describes that performing 20 counts of Bhastrika 3 times a day, one would never suffer from any disease and would remain healthy. So it has a preventive potential according to this text. Then we are using the alternate nostril breathing, the Nadi Shuddhi Pranayama. This text says, Hatha Yoga Pradipika in the 2nd chapter, 7th to 10th shloka, it describes that Nadi Shuddhi can cleanse the subtle energy channels in 3 months, 20 rounds you have to do. It also balances the Vata. Similarly, the text describes that when the pranayama practices are performed properly, they have the power of eradicating diseases. But if they are not done properly under supervision, then they can itself generate diseases. So one has to be very, very careful while doing the pranayama practices. There is another reference for the Ujjayi pranayama practice that it removes the diseases from the channels, removes dropsy, and it balances the dhatus in the body. It also increases the digestive fire. There is another reference that says that this particular breathing cleans the phlegm from the throat region. Kapalabhati is another breathing practice which increases digestive fire and reduces kapha dosha. We actually performed a research using Kapalabhati Pranayama, where we observed that the prefrontal lobes got more oxygenated in healthy subjects as compared to schizophrenia patient after 1 minute of practice. So this suggests that prefrontal oxygenation means a better ability to become aware of oneself, a better ability to plan and cognize things. So which should help in reducing the stress. There are a number of researches which show that yoga can reduce depression and stress levels. This study by Burman et al., where mantra chanting was used, people from different faiths chanted mantras, and we observed that the mantra chanting practice led to balance in their quality of life, and also there was reduction in the psychological stress. The person was able to reduce the intrusive negative thoughts related to the HIV infection while performing this mantra chanting. So therefore, in our module, as you all know, that we have used the practice of A, U and Ma vibrations. Basically, they aim at reducing the negative intrusive thoughts in these conditions and thereby reducing your stress levels. In another randomized study, we observed that people who perform Bhastrika and Ujjayi practice, actually this was the part of Sudarshan Kriya Yoga practice that they performed on these two, focus on these two practices. We observed that in 8 weeks, subjects suffering from major depression reported significant reduction in depressive symptoms, which were equivalent to those produced by antidepressant drugs. So the breathing practice was as effective as antidepressant medicine if performed for 8 weeks. Then Telles et al. Have performed number of researches showing that the alternate nostril breathing has differential effects on the autonomic nervous system. The left nostril reduces the metabolic rate and increases the parasympathetic dominance, whereas the right nostril breathing causes increase in sympathetic activity and BMR. So Dr. Shanahoff Khalsa from US also has observed that when you perform left nostril breathing, the end diastolic volume increases. It means the ability of your heart to relax between the heartbeats increases, and the power of the heart to pump the blood also goes up. Then we also observed the immune functions, whether they are affected by yoga. So in a systematic review of 15 RCTs, it was observed that the inflammatory mediators actually which are affected in COVID-19 infection are reduced by yoga practice. Of course, this research has not been done in COVID-19 patients, but in patients who are suffering from other disorders like cancer and other conditions. But these inflammatory markers came down and the anti-inflammatory markers came up. And the average duration of the yoga in these studies is 8 to 12 weeks. Similarly, Davidson et al. Have observed that 8-week of mindfulness meditation program led to significant increase in antibody titer in response to the influenza vaccine virus. So yoga can potentially improve the antibody titer also against the infections. Another cross-sectional study has shown that those who are long-term meditators for 3 years or more, these kind of meditators have higher immune cells numbers as compared to non-meditators. Then we also searched at whether the yoga practice as an add-on helps in certain infectious conditions. So there we found a RCT where we observed that people who did a yoga program involving joint loosening, sun salutations, pranayama and relaxation techniques for 12 weeks, 5 days per week, as an add-on to antiretroviral therapy, had significantly lesser depression and a trend towards increasing CD4 counts as compared to people who took only antiretroviral medicine. In another study, it was observed that yoga was useful in tuberculosis infection. TB, as we know, is treated in the phased manner. First 2 weeks are the intensive phase where patients take 4 medications, and then comes the maintenance phase where they take 3 medications. So it was observed that during the intensive phase, the 8 weeks when yoga was given as an add-on to TB drugs, significant number of patients became seronegative at the end. Whereas in the control group, there were people who were still seropositive and they had to take the intensive treatment for another month. Also, the symptom scores became better, their lung functions became better, and the radiographic picture also showed a better picture in people who took yoga as an add-on to the medications. Similarly, the studies have shown that 12 to 24 weeks of yoga practice can enhance natural killer cell count and activity. So natural killer cells are our immune cells, which have the potential to kill the viruses, to eat the cancerous cells. But these cells need to be activated. They are like Hanuman. They are dormant. They don't know their power. So it appears that a yoga practice, a sustained yoga practice, can enhance their number as well as their power in overcoming these infections. So finally, I would present some preliminary data that we have taken. We used this 45-minute yoga module, developed this using the literature search, then we gave it to 10 experts, and then we took their opinion on a Likert scale, and then finally, with a certain cutoff, came up with these 8 practices that we are teaching you here. We observed that in the whole month, we had 24 sessions and there were 1,928 logins into our sessions in the whole month. Then out of these, 91 subjects actually consented to participate and filled the Google form in the baseline. Here we observed that out of 91 subjects who participated, 70% were females. And the average age range was 40 plus minus 20 years. That is, you can say the 20 to 60 years of range people participated. So among them, 39% people had low back pain, 23.5% had hypertension, 15% had type 2 diabetes, and 4% were a known case of depression. 4% also had cardiological disorders. Then out of this 91, 53 subjects completed the 1-month Tele Yoga program and then filled the post Google form. The average attendance was 11.68 sessions. So 12 sessions on an average people attended. And when we asked them at the end, how difficult is the module? So from 0 to 10, people, 10 being very difficult and 0 means completely very easy, people gave it 2.4. It means it came under easy category. We also asked them how many yoga sessions would be required to learn this module. And we have observed that people suggest that 10 supervised sessions are sufficient to completely learn this program and then practice on their own. We also asked about the side effects of the module, and 95.6% of the subjects reported that the module was safe and feasible. Only 3 subjects reported some side effects. 1 subject reported that when we were performing the backward and forward bending, there was a loss of balance and the subject fell down. Therefore, we added a specific instruction in the module that it should be done with eyes open and the feet should not be together. They should be apart while doing this practice. We also measured the stress levels in this population, and we observed that there was a 60% reduction in the stress levels as compared to the baseline in 1 month. So this is quite a significant number. We asked people how much % of their reduction in stress do they attribute to their practice of yoga. So people said that 75% of their stress reduction is due to their yoga practice. We also asked the data on their painkiller requirement in the last 1 month, and 28% of the subjects said that their painkiller need came down after 1 month of yoga practice, whereas 12.5% subjects reported the reduction in the need for sleep medications. Overall, when we asked them to rate the module from 0 to 10, how much did they think that the module was useful in reducing stress in this COVID-19 condition, the average marks that we received out of 10 are 8.8. So this is the whole process of our developing and feasibility testing of the yoga module. I really thank people who joined us in the yoga sessions and who actually consented to participate in this study. I'm really very, very grateful to you. So these are the references of the studies that I have quoted here. These are the ancient texts that we referred. I acknowledge Dr. B.N. Gangadhar, Director of the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, for organizing this whole program and for giving this opportunity to us. I also acknowledge Dr. D. Nagaraja, ex-director of NIMHANS, Dr. Shivram Brahmpalli, who is the head of department of the integrative medicine and who is the force behind all these activities that we are able to perform. I am also thankful to Dr. H.R. Nagendra and Dr. R. Nagratna from S. Vyasa University, who have taught me the yoga knowledge that I have. So thank you very much once again. I hope all of you join us in the Zoom meetings. The details of the meeting are available on our website, nimhansyoga.in. Thank you very much.